We're here with Justin Bragg, Esports Director in Purdue University Northwest. Justin, thank you so much for your time and for assisting for this interview. It for sure is going to be super valuable for the international students.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
And just to get started, like what's your journey into ending up as a Esports Director in the Purdue University Northwest Esports program?
Sure. So I got started playing League of Legends. So when I was in college, I usually just played with my friends for fun. That was back in 2012, 2013. So it's probably like season two, season three. Once I graduated college is when I started taking League more seriously. I got more involved in the competitive scene. So I ended up hitting rank 10 challenger in North America back in season five. And then I also played on Team Inertia, which was in the Challenger Series before they went to that franchising model for LCS in North America. And when I wasn't going to play pro in North America, I ended up getting regular jobs until the college team started taking off. So in 2017, I got my first chance at Illinois College, which is a small school in Illinois in the United States. And I was there for about 2.5 years. And then Purdue University Northwest had an opening as for the director of the program. And so once that opened, it was a lot closer to home. I was about 4 hours away from home at the other school I was at. Now I'm about an hour away from my family and friends. So it just made sense. It was a bigger school, closer to home, and so that's how I ended up here. Was basically as a player, and then slowly getting into one-on-one coaching and then team coaching.
Yeah, that's great. And also, could you describe us like, because that's a very common question asked by students, like what a day to day will look like for a player. Like with their classes, their practice, their competition.
Yeah, for sure. So it really depends on your major. Some majors have classes more common on a specific day than others. So, for example, you will most likely be anywhere between 12 and 15 credit hours. And what that really means is that that's how many hours per week you'll be in class. So, say you're on 12 credit hours and you're taking four classes that are 3 credit hours. What that will mean is that you'll usually get your classes split up between 2 days, and there'll be 2 hour increments for both days. So that's like Monday and Wednesdays from 10 to noon, or Tuesdays and Thursdays from 1:30 to 3:30. And so you'll usually have four classes throughout the week that are split up like that. So you might have one day where you're going to class from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. and it's three different classes. You might have one day where you only have one class. You might only have a class from 10 to 11 a.m. And then usually most schools have Fridays off for all of their classes outside of a very few specific majors. So on a typical day, you're probably looking at you're going to class about half the day. I would imagine anywhere from 3 to 4 hours you'll go to class on average. Then after you're done with classes, will typically be your time to study, to do homework, to get lunch, get an early dinner. Once 4 p.m. rolls around is typically when we'll start scrimming other schools for practices, or we'll start doing VOD reviews for a specific game if we had a scrim with another school, and then we're going to go over the video review of it, or we'll have our competitions after that as well. So it really just depends on the game and what time of year it is. But an average day is usually 3 to 4 hours of classes, a couple hours of studying and doing homework, and then a couple hours of practice, competition, VOD review, whatever we have in store for that day.
That's great. And before you mentioned the opening position that you received from Purdue, how was the transition? Like before, it was a student-run thing, and then they wanted to professionalize it, or they just went all in, and then they put this and expected like you to the right to like organize all the program. How was the transition?
So when I got here, there was nothing esports related at all on campus yet. So basically, what happened was we transformed a game room where it had like a pool table and a ping pong table and like other games, and we transformed that room into our computer lab that has 30 computers in it. And so basically, I designed that entire room. We got custom computers for all of it. We got custom furniture for everything. And we kind of started the recruiting trail at that point. So we have our arena, and now we're trying to recruit players to come play for our teams in that arena. So, yeah, I mean, some schools will have clubs, some schools will have varsity teams before you get there, and some are just starting from scratch. It's a brand new team. So for Purdue Northwest, it was starting from scratch. We had nothing. And so we've been in business for about 3 years now. We have over 65 students in our esports program. We have two different 30 computer arenas. So we have 60 computers total. And we give out about anywhere between $30,000 to $50,000 in scholarship money every year.
So the school is really investing in esports. That's great.
Mhm.
And also for those like 65 students, like are they all like in competitive gaming, or they also like have other skills? I don't know, like graphic design, content creation, production, and everything that an esports program would need to like succeed. Do you empower the students to develop their skills, or do you hire full time staff for that? How does it work?
It depends on what the project is. So we do give scholarships for students to do the other work that's not playing. So, like you mentioned, graphic design, team manager, analysts, social media managers, all of those kinds of things are necessary to have a good program. And we do recruit students and give scholarships to students that want to do that. They're not always part of the recruitment number that we have. Sometimes it's just students on campus that want to get involved in esports. And so those are the students that we bring in to help out with the program. We didn't necessarily recruit them to the school. Some of them are, but not all of them are. So I would say out of those 65, about 60 of them are players and about five are staff that do other things in the program. And then the people that were already at school, we probably have another five. So we probably have about 10 total that are working on those things that aren't actually playing the game.
Okay, that's great. And throughout the years, they've been like, what are the partners or the sponsors that you got into a program that benefit the students? Like, can you talk about that a bit more? Because usually the students are very interested in that.
As far, what do you mean exactly? Just what sponsors we partner with? Is that what you're just looking
Yeah,
for?
yeah, yeah, just what like, for example, I don't know, for peripherals or like, like or like, I don't know, like whatever.
Yeah, so our big sponsor is Gravity Gaming by Bytespeed. They're based out of Minnesota in the States. And they created all of our computers. So they make custom made computers. Uh,
Hmm.
all of our all of our peripherals are from Logitech because they're the sponsor with Gravity Gaming. So then they send us all the Logitech gear for those. And so we use Logitech gears for giveaways, whether it's like on our website, whether it's on social media, or even we'll run tournaments throughout the year where we'll give away, a keyboard, we'll give away a headset as prizes for some of the tournaments that we have, which
That's
is a
great.
really cool thing to do. And we have a few other sponsors that we're in the process of working with. Uh, One of them is a sponsor for blue or eyeglasses to protect from blue light. So in the near future, we plan on having glasses for everyone to kind of protect them if they're going to be playing all the time. It's still relatively new as far as like the research goes towards, what blue light does to you if you're looking at a screen for, 8, 10, 12 hours a day, whether you're working or playing a game. So we would kind of want to get on the forefront of that to make sure that they have that extra protection
Yeah.
when they're being part of our program. And then we have other, small sponsors that give scholarship money to students as well.
That was great. I mean, I've been wearing the blue light glasses to work for years. I don't know if it benefits me or works, but like I wear just in case in the long run, the studies start to
Yeah,
appear.
I mean, it's better to be safe, you know.
Yeah, and also like, how does Purdue Northwest like guide students into the workforce when they graduate? Both like maybe you in the Esports program or the university itself as a whole.
So we have a career center that does really well with placement as far as internships and job placement goes. I believe we have a 98% job placement for coming to our school, which is one of the highest in the nation. And we have a lot of connections with a lot of industries. Our school is really known for all of our STEM majors, so a lot of engineers, uh, a lot of computer engineering, electrical engineering. Nursing is a big one that's up and coming here. We have a lot of connections. We actually just built a $40 million facility for our nursing program, which has mock emergency rooms. They have mock doctors' offices, all of those kinds of things. So they really get really good hands-on experience doing that. And then, yeah, we have the connections with a lot of local jobs that are in all of these fields. So we basically will send students out for internships in the community to kind of get them hands-on experience as well. So we have a lot of connections when it comes to job placement and helping them get jobs in that field that they want. On a side note, for esports, we also do decent at job placement in the esports industry as well. I've had one player who used to play with me at Illinois College is now a full-time employee at Immortals. We have a few other students that got jobs uh, as esports directors at other schools in the country, as all over the country as well. So while we do want people to get degrees and go into that job field, if you're interested in esports and want to get more involved in it, we also have job placement for those students as well.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And also like, for them, so if a student, because they do have a tight schedule with academics and esports, no,
Mhm.
and practice, like if they feel overwhelmed, or like, is there like some like counseling support? Do you guide them into make in time management? Like, how can they come to you if they feel overwhelmed, or does the school have resources for them to be mentally healthy, let's say?
Yeah, usually the first student stop is talking to me. I do everything for them. So whether it's they need help with classes, whether they need a tutor for a class, whether they want to talk to me about just their daily life if they're struggling with anything, whether they need help with time management, I'll go through their schedule with them to figure out, hey, are you do you really not have any time, or are you just mismanaging the time that you do have? Because it's a big difference between going from high school to college and figuring out, in high school, a lot of times, at least in the States, I don't know how internationally works, they're going to school from usually like 7 a.m. to like 3 p.m. or so. So they're usually in school almost the whole day. Whether when you get to college, you're only going to school for probably about actually half that time, but you have a lot more work that has to be done outside of the classroom when it comes to that. So a lot of students are kind of overwhelmed in figuring out, hey, I have all this time. They used to go home and, maybe they'll watch YouTube for a few hours, or they go play a game for a few hours or something like that after their classes. They come here and realize they do that, then go to practice. Then they don't have any time when they get back from practice. They're like, oh, where'd the day go? I don't have time to do anything. But you kind of have to redistribute your priorities when it comes to that at the college level. And so, yeah, we totally work with students to figure out what the best schedule for them is and to make sure that they stick to that. And then as far as mental health goes, we have a counseling center on campus where they can go to and talk to counselors, and that is part of their tuition. So that's covered by the school.
That's great. And what would worst case scenario? What happen if for example, a student is in his first semester and struggling a bit academically, what would be the steps that the program would take to make sure that the student is his GPA up, basically?
So we have a mandatory study hall for all the players on our team. So basically, for 3 hours every week, you have to go to this study hall center, which is only for athletes. So only about 400 people have access to it out of the 8 or 9,000 students that we have here. And then they sign into a computer, and then they just have this area where we can kind of track how many times and how often they go and for how long they go. So we have that mandatory 3 hours for students that are below a 3.0 GPA. So if you're getting straight A's, you don't have to go to this. But if you're getting like B's and C's, then it's mandatory for you to go to this so we can track how often you're actually studying. And then we'll kind of have a conversation if they need a tutor outside of this or if they need more help academically. You know, the athletics department on our campus also have an academic side to help these students that are part of our programs. So they help these 400 kids that are part of the athletic programs and making sure their schedule's correct, making sure they can set up tutors for them, making sure that they're succeeding academically, to make sure that they're graduating here. You know, our graduation rate within our sorry about that. The graduation rate within our athletic program is about 85%, so it's very high when it comes to the graduation rate that for the program that we offer. So we want to make sure that we can keep doing that, and so we have a lot of resources to make sure that they're keeping their grades up.
That's great. And do you also focus on the nutrition and athletic side for like, do you encourage it in players? Is it mandatory? Like, do you also like educate them that that's also important to perform better as a player?
Yeah, we definitely go over the importance of that. As far as working out and a lot of stuff like that goes, it's not mandatory to be part of the team, but we do have a strength and conditioning coach that works with all of our teams. So if they are interested in getting a program specific for them, whether that's cardio, whether that's weightlifting, whether that's, you know, a nutrition plan, anything like that, the strength and conditioning coach can help with all of that, and they have access to that for being part of the team. So yeah, not mandatory to be part of the team, but we definitely do encourage it and kind of give them the data behind why eating important, why drinking a lot of water, why sleeping 8 hours a day is all really important to your health and to make you perform better in school and while you're playing whatever game you're playing.
That was great. And going back a bit to the graduation phase and stuff, like for you as a director, like what would be like, I don't know, top three or some of transferable skills that you would want or you aim for students to have when they enter the workforce that they learned in the sport program, thanks to you and your team.
Yeah, I think the top three would probably be leadership, making sure that they understand that how important it is to become a leader, to make sure that when they do go into their job, they have those, you know, they have the social skills where they can talk to a group of individuals. Because no matter what job you're going to, you're going to be talking to, you know, you're going to have human to human interaction. There's very few jobs where you're not going to have human to human interaction. So we want to make sure that they have the leadership skills to where they can kind of, you know, delegate tasks for people to do, or they can kind of have that, be able to do public speaking and things like that. That's all kind of part of, you know, leadership and leading whatever team that you have. Critical thinking is another big one. You know, a lot of the games that they're playing, they have to, you know, make split second decisions. And so making sure that when we go through VOD review, a lot of what I do through our VOD reviews are kind of talking about, all right, what were you thinking in this scenario? And so I want to hear what their thought process is out loud, and they can kind of verbalize that to me. And then I'll be like, okay, well, you should have stood here or you should have gone here, and give them reasoning as to why they need to do that. And so they can kind of make that split-second decision and it's the correct one instead of the incorrect one. So things like that, where it comes to critical thinking, is also very important. And then I guess communication would be the third one, but a lot of these kind of tie in together when it comes to a lot of these skills that they'll learn from our esports program that they can kind of bring on to their professional field. So critical thinking, leadership, communication, teamwork is another one. Making sure that you can work with your teammates and making sure that you're a team player, not rocking the boat too much when it comes to your what your ideas are for something, but also making sure that everyone knows what you're thinking about. So I guess I gave you four here, but I think those four are all really good skills that you would definitely learn coming here.
That was great, Justin. And just to wrap this up, like, where can students find you and the program?
So our Purdue Northwest website is a good place to start. There you'll find a lot of our information, like social media. We'll have a lot of our updates on Twitter. We have a Discord for our team, so you can go onto our Discord. All of that information is on our website at pnw.edu, and then you just search esports, and then you'll find our esports page.
That was great, Justin. Well, man, thank you so much for your time. For sure, you brought a lot of value to students, and yeah, we stay in touch, and hopefully, students can be part of your program in the near future.
Awesome. Great to hear. Thanks for having me once again.